for sales efficiently and effectively. So welcome. I'm Chris Bogue. I am your host. I am going to be helming this one solo today because we're getting deep on workflows. So if anybody's watching this live or if you're watching this recorded, there's a lot of moving parts to video. You can't just say, oh, I'll make a video. Video's actually got 10 or 11 different steps. So what we're going to be doing today, I've been talking to a lot of people who need to get a lot of video done before the end of the year. And all we're going to do is we're going to break down the video creation process into a step-by-step workflow. So if you're just joining us today, go ahead and maybe there's something missing from your process. Maybe there's something you could be doing faster or more efficiently. I find that organization is the key to creativity. It's the key to sales. But first, a little bit of background. So as I mentioned, this is Video Selling Live, and this show is brought to you by SendSpark. So SendSpark is a solution. It is the top way for companies to do video at scale, and you can try it for free. Go ahead and scan the QR code, and you can start using SendSpark for free. We have so many cool new tools. We just rolled out a AI tool for voice cloning, super awesome for personalization at scale. And there's a lot of really simple, sleek tools built in to SendSpark to make sure that your team can create videos quickly and easily. That is the video company that I use for all of my sales videos. So go ahead and you can scan that QR code if you want to try SendSpark for free. Also, like I mentioned, I am a coach. So my name's Chris Bogue. I coach people to make mercifully short video content. Sometimes that video content is video for sales, so short prospecting videos, short videos to your pipeline. I also teach people how to make video content for LinkedIn and YouTube and TikTok. So I'm going to be going again live later on today, making some live video content with y'all. But if you're interested to learn about my methods, you could purchase the complete guide to selling on video. So this is my method. We're going to be going through the steps super quickly today. But if you want to check out my course, it is 2.5 hours long. We go in depth through the creation process, everything you need to know. So go ahead, scan the QR code if you want to purchase my course. And then we're going to get started. Excuse me. So before we kick this off today, go ahead and jump into the comments and let me know if you are here. So if you're watching this live on YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever you're watching this, go ahead and drop in a comment. You can ask me a question. You can weigh in on something we're talking about during the show. But I don't know if you're here if you don't leave a comment. So go ahead, drop your comments in. I will be taking your questions throughout the episode. And yeah, you can go ahead and leave that there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and we're going to get this kicked off today with lesson time. So let's get ready for lesson time. Okay, so as we mentioned, today is all about Q4 workflows. I cannot stress this enough. Time is so finite here at the end of Q4. You really need to be making the most out of every single moment, okay? So let's get this started. I was up really earlier today, so I should be drinking more water. So as I mentioned, video has numerous steps to it. Today, we're just going to go through one by one. I'm going to explain to you how I think of each of these steps. And let's just get it started here. So step number one, scheduling your tasks. So the big difference between top performers and people who miss the mark are top performers know what they plan to do and when they plan to do it. So first and foremost, if you want to do video for the remainder of Q4, especially here while we still got some time in November, you have to be very deliberate with what you want to do. So I recommend using a task scheduler. I use a scheduler called TickTick. If anybody's familiar with TickTick, you could use Notion too. Notion is a more popular one. I think the TickTick app is better for me, but this way I can break down my tasks. And so I'm not just sending out 10 videos. I'm saying, find 10 names, shoot footage, edit footage. I'm breaking these things down into steps. So first and foremost, especially if you're a leader, you're going to have to exactly it is you want your team to be doing. If you just say, go send some videos out there, it's not going to get done. If you want to hold your team to one video per day, that's fine. You could do more than that, but you're going to fall short of one per day if you can't break that down into steps. So everything you're seeing here today, if you want to go through, I would be taking notes. But first, you're going to figure out what exactly steps you're going to want your team to do. Second is we're going to talk a little bit about removing distractions. So it's very hard to get anything done if you are constantly switching your focus. So focus switching, if you've ever seen any research on it, it kills productivity, right? Even these little 10-second interruptions can have these ripple effects on your day. So again, you have to think about when you want to be doing something. And let's say you're going to film your videos at 10 a.m. It's really helpful if you use something like Stay Focused or a different productivity app. They have a lot of them out there for Google Chrome. But what I do is I make sure that I have my time waster sites blocked off. So I literally can't go to YouTube. I literally can't go to Facebook. I can't go to these websites that are designed to suck me in and addict me. YouTube, Reddit. Sometimes I add LinkedIn to that mix. Sometimes I add Gmail to that mix. Sellers, if you're working for a SaaS org, I recommend taking a time where you are intentionally away from Slack. You can let your bosses know about this. You can let your manager know about this. But if you're going to be intentional with your deep focus, if you're putting a half hour or an hour on the calendar where you're just going to be zeroed in on a task, make a commitment to yourself that you're not going to be going to your standard time waster sites, you're not going to be checking your email, and you're not going to be checking Slack. So as long as you're getting your work done, as long as you're being intentional with your time, your sales leaders should not have a problem with this, right? And if you hold yourself, if you actually get a free productivity monitor, something like Stay Focused, you can make sure that you're actually not going to fall victim to temptation and start fooling around with other tasks, right? So help yourself do what you say that you're going to do, and literally remove distractions from your computer using a productivity app. So that's number 2. And then number 3, we're going to get deeper into this idea here of breaking up large tasks into smaller tasks. So as I mentioned, I do have a course called The Complete Guide to Selling on Video. Part of the reason why I released a course was so I could break down each section of video and really hone in on what that work looks like. So for me, researching, writing, practicing, filming, editing, follow-ups, these are all separate tasks. And if I actually list all of them down, I can make sure that each of them gets done. So any task that takes you too long, just break it up, and this works for any sales activity too, by the way. So if you're the type of person who wants to make 100 cold dials, and you're the type of person who doesn't normally hit their target of 100 cold dials, you got to break that down, right? So maybe 50 in the morning, 50 in the afternoon. Do them in spurts of 20, do them in spurts of 25, do them in spurts of 10. Make sure you have like a planned start, beginning, middle, and end. And again, I like lists of 10. I like lists of 5. I like small lists where I can make sure I am focused in, bing, 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 get it done, and then I can move on to another task. So in that same vein, we're going to be talking about time blocking too. So everybody out there in sales, one of the best things you can do is make sure that you are time blocking, not only for yourself, but also for your bosses. So your bosses are going to be under a lot of pressure at this time. They're going to be worried about the bottom line. They're going to be worried about the things that their bosses are saying to them. It's nice for them to be able to look at your calendar and see that the work is getting done Sellers, I know it's a pain. I know it's hard. I know there's a million things to focus on every day. But be intentional and schedule the important tasks for the beginning of the day. So if you need to get those call blocks done, set them up at 9 a.m. Get a good start. Make sure you can focus in. But most importantly, plan to be smart with your energy. And what I mean by that is maybe you're not a morning person, right? And maybe you keep scheduling call blocks for the morning and they keep not getting done. You should consider scheduling your tasks for when you have the energy to take on that task. So sometimes I have my mornings set aside for meetings. Like for me, I like the pressure of a meeting. I like to make sure that I'm showered and put together and ready to go early in the day. It's easier for me to take a meeting at 8 a.m. than it is for me to do outreach at 8 a.m. So I schedule my meetings usually for 8, 9, 10 a.m. every day. This way it gets me out of my head. I wake up, I have a plan. I know I have an obligation to other people. And then I'll do my outreach later in the day. The important thing is making sure that I understand what needs to get done and that every single thing that I need to get done is on the calendar. Okay, so live and die by your calendar. Put time blocks on your calendar, especially sales reps. If you're always complaining about your boss being on your ass all the time, this is a good way to protect your time, right? So if you are intentional about when you are doing your outreach, if you are intentional about when you are going to be filming and sending your videos, if somebody throws something on your calendar last minute, you can make the case, hey, this is the time where I had planned to do my outreach. Here's the plan that I have in place to hit my goals. You need to be clear with yourself. And once you have that, you can tell that story to your bosses. So that starts with being intentional with your time. So now that we've talked a little bit more about time blocking, let's go with list building. So who do you need to reach? So this is something I've been thinking about a lot. I had Melissa Gaglione on my show, Chris Sells His Soul, just a few days ago. She is an account executive at Deal, and she was talking to me just about how important research is in her process. Now, Melissa and I have slightly different approaches to video prospecting. Mine is a little looser. It's a little designed for like mass creation, mass distribution. I'm really teaching oftentimes SDRs, but also AEs, also founders, how to get off more videos in a time. So I'm always preaching, get 5 out there a day, get 10 out there a day. And the best way to do that is to have a list. So I recommend making a list of your top accounts, your top 25, top 50 accounts, and make sure that every single person on that list gets a video, right? If you've got 50 names on a sheet, even if you're sending 3 videos a day, you should be able to get through every single person on that list. So when I sit down, when I have to get strategic about what I'm going to do, I've got my prospects broken down into lists. And I do this earlier. I mentioned I use TickTick. There's a number of different productivity apps you can use. Kanban boards. So I use the Kanban function in TickTick. If you are somebody who uses a program like Asana, there's a number of programs out there where you can organize tasks in a Kanban board. And this really helps me for sales. So you can do this in a lot of the CRMs too. I like to figure out, okay, who are the new people I want to be adding to the pipeline, right? So I've always got to be reaching out to people. You always want to be prospecting. You always want to be adding new people to the pipeline. But I also keep a running list of follow-ups. So everybody that I'm in communication with who hasn't given me one way or the other, which way they want to go, I've got them in a list, right? And that's a list I plan to use where I'm just going to follow up until I make contact. I've got my standard clients. I've got my clients who are already relying on me for coaching. So I'm making time to prep them. Sometimes I'm reaching out to them and giving them notes for the week. I try to do that all in one session. We're going to get to that Yeah, actually, 2 steps from now, we're going to get to that. But yeah, the idea here is like I want a list of names on my desk. And this way I can be very intentional with the filming process. So I know for a fact out there, most sales teams are not even sending 5 custom videos per rep per month. And it's a lot easier to do that when every day you sit down, you've got a list of just a few names, and you make it a point to send something to every single person on that list. Now, what's going to make this even easier is if you have your list organized and characterized so similar names are all on the same list, right? So if I'm doing follow-ups, might as well do follow-ups to 5 people who I've talked to before, right? If I'm going to be doing cold outreach to accounts, I might as well be doing it to 5 businesses that are similar sized, or 5 businesses that all use SendSpark, or 5 businesses that are all in Chicago. I like to organize them, and this way I can make sure that I'm saying roughly the same thing on each outreach. Now, the reason why I do that is because it's going to make it easier for me to test and to study my results and understand what's working. If I send 5 videos out and each of those 5 videos has a similar script and the recipient of those 5 videos is pretty much the same, I'm going to be able to make more inferences into the data than if I was just sending out one here, one there. It's really nice when you can use the same format, the same like structure for the script each time. It's just going to give you a quicker idea about whether or not what you're doing is working. So at this time, we've got a couple more left. But before we do that, I'm going to run a little advertisement here. So as I mentioned, I'm a coach. This is what I do for a living is I coach people to do video prospecting. Also, how to make video content. I actually have a course all about video prospecting. And we're going to take a breather here right in the middle of the episode. And we're going to watch an advertisement for that right now. So Iggy, roll the tape, please.
Hello?
Is this Mr. Sherber?
It sure is. What can I help you with, brother?
Hello. You were not expecting this call. Do you have 17 seconds to
Hang
learn
on a
about
second.
mercifully short...
Is this a cold call?
I don't know.
You. Never call this number again.
Oh no! Another unsuccessful cold call. You probably don't have time to f*** off.
I got a quota to hit.
Are you spending hours every week cold calling and cold emailing but not seeing results?
There's gotta be a better way.
Introducing the complete guide to selling on video. Whether you're new to sales or a President's Club member, this fast and fun course will teach you to efficiently create short, customized videos that get results. The complete guide to selling on video is not sold in stores. Visit chrisbogue.io and use promo code GIMMEGIMME to take $50 off while supplies last. Don't delay. Get noticed today.
All right, so we are back once again. We are going through workflows for Q4. So again, anybody, if you're watching this live, go ahead and drop in a comment if you have questions about workflows or video for sales or anything that we're talking about today. But let's go ahead and keep running through my workflow, right? So this is step number 7. So we've scheduled our task, we've shut off distractions, we have broken up our large tasks into smaller ones, we've blocked out our time, we've built the list, we've done some research. Now we're going to practice. So this is a step that shouldn't take too long, but I recommend just walking around and talking through your script. So when I'm actually filming the video, I'm trying to get it done in one take. Usually I want to just go out there, deliver the line confidently. I don't want to re-record too much because I don't want it to feel inauthentic. I want it to feel like I'm talking directly to the other person. But I kind of do have to just wander around my house and just kind of like strike up the conversation, so to speak, get used to saying the person's name, get used to talking to them the way I would talk to them if they were in a bar or a coffee shop or somewhere where I was, in an elevator or something with them. I really have to think, what would I do if I had this person's time for just a moment? What would I say to them? Get some time to talk it through. You can also do a practice run on video, make sure that you're staged well, make sure that everything looks good. But yeah, I always think about how I want that script to sound. So once we've got that, then we're filming. What energy do you want to give them? So there's a couple things I'm always thinking about when I'm filming. Number one, I want to make sure that I have a good spot to film in. So right now, what you're seeing, my office view, is where I shoot most of my video from. And that's because it's easy. It's lit well. I've got some decorations in the background. I've got my professional mic here. I've got my professional webcam here. Because my space is organized and clean and designed to be a space that's easy to film in, I can get it done fast. I don't have to clear things out and change the shot every time I want to sit down and film. It is always here waiting for me. So I recommend having a spot you like to film in. And again, what energy are you going to give off here? So in sales, you never want to give desperate energy. You never want to give pushy energy. I like to give relaxed energy. I like to give confident energy. So sometimes that means playing music in my space, doing what I have to do to get into the zone. I schedule my workouts sometimes beforehand. So I worked out this morning at 7, make sure I was up and feeling good. So I look good and I'm giving confident energy out on screen. This is another thing too. So think about how you want to look on camera. You got to put yourself into that mindset. And then again, how many videos are you going to be filming at a given time? So keep that number to yourself, get that number, write that list. If you're going to get 5 videos out, hold yourself to that. Make sure you record all 5. I like filming them all on one single video file, just back to back to back. And then I take it and I chop it up and I edit it. And that is a next step. So we'll go here. So after filming is done, then it's time to edit. So editing is where I simplify my message. So there's different ways to do this. If you're a person like me who likes to edit videos, if you're a video content creator, I do all my workflows in Adobe, Adobe Premiere Pro, Adobe Photoshop. All these programs work together and I pay for a Creative Cloud subscription. So for me, it's easy to just record one single video file that's easy for me to import. It's dealing with as few video files as possible. And then I chop them up and I export them, right? If you are a person who you're just filming into your app, if you've got the SenseSpark app or if you're using an app for another program, in that case, it would probably be easier for you to record the videos one by one. But again, I like to edit them all down at the same time. So, if I'm doing one by one, I'm stopping the camera after each video and starting it up. And I'm recording all the footage back to back to back before I'm editing it or sending it or doing anything with it. And this way, when I get to this editing step, all I got to do is just trim my clip, trim down the beginning, trim down the ending, make sure I have the most efficient video possible. But all your editing should be done in one fell swoop, and it should not take very long, right? You were confident about your list. You sat down and you recorded, a handful of short, confident messages. It really should just be a matter of cleaning things up, making sure your video starts the moment you start talking and ends the moment you end talking. And then we'll move to the next part, which is your sending. Right. So sending the messages, this is another thing where it's I feel like this is where a lot of sellers take all their time. And this is actually where I take the least amount of time. So if I'm sending, that means I'm logged into SenseSpark and I'm sending 5 videos at one time, right? Because they're all already loaded in. They are already edited. I've got them assigned to who I'm going to be sending them out to. At this point, I'm sending them on SenseSpark back to back. It should take me 5 to 10 minutes. And once again, anybody who is interested in my method, go ahead and you can purchase my course, The Complete Guide to Selling on Video. So again, this is my framework. I've been teaching video prospecting for about 3 years now. I've found that short, simple, repeatable, fast processes are the way to do this. And I know from surveying my network that most sales teams do not have an efficient process for video. So if you are out there, if you are trying to make videos, in a short amount of time before the end of Q4, go ahead. You can check out my course by scanning the QR code on your screen. And also, if you are new to video prospecting, or even if you've been doing it and you're shopping around for a solution, you can go ahead and get SendSpark. So as always, this episode is brought to you by SendSpark. SendSpark is the #1 program for video prospecting at scale. We have a bunch of awesome new tools. We have dynamic videos that you can customize easily. We've got a new AI voice cloning tool that I can talk to you about. If you shoot me a DM, we've got early access to that. All sorts of great things happening at SendSpark. You can go ahead and scan the QR code on the screen if you want to try SendSpark for free. And let's just wrap up here with one final note, and that is your follow-ups. So you send these out, you send your video, maybe it's the first touch, maybe it's the second touch. We know out there that sales tends to take at least 17 touches before you're actually going to be able to push a deal over the line. So it requires a lot of back and forth, a lot of awareness, a lot of education. There's meetings, there's persuasion that needs to happen. So plan your follow-up, right? The reason why we're making videos is because video is a very powerful tool. It is a very effective tool to get noticed. It is a tool that is oftentimes appreciated by the recipient because it takes extra work and extra care. If you are sending video to somebody and they do not respond to the video, that does not matter, okay? You got to go try to get the message to them anyway. So if you send a video, plan a non-video follow-up, and plan a couple actually. So if you send a video, if you've got their phone number, it's a good idea to go ahead and try to get them on the phone. Barring that, you can go ahead, you can send a direct message on LinkedIn. You can send a 1 or 2 sentence email follow-up. Voice notes are very popular. That's another way to do it. Don't just rely on video. Go out there and make a plan for yourself to have at least 2 to 4 follow-ups for each person who gets the video, with the goal that you really want to go out there and you really want to make follow-ups until you make contact. And that is it for today. So once again, I know this is a crazy time of year, but this is the time to get strategic. Trust me, as somebody who's been doing this for a long time, there's still a lot of gettable opportunities out there. Yes, there are accounts who already have their budgets allotted for and who are not looking for a solution for the end of the year. There are organizations out there who, their quarter doesn't end until the end of January. There are organizations out there who have budget spend and need to figure out what they're going to allot that money to before the end of the year. So happy selling. Go out there, be efficient, be friendly, be persuasive, and be on video. So once again, this is another episode of Video Selling Live brought to you by SendSpark. If you have any questions for us, go ahead and send them to videossellinglive@sendspark.com. We'd love to feature you on the show. We'd love to talk about your ideas on the show. Go ahead and send us your prospecting videos if you want free feedback and coaching, and go ahead and subscribe on LinkedIn by clicking the follow button. So I'm Chris Bogue. Follow me on LinkedIn. Send me a connection request. I'm friendly. And go ahead and follow SendSpark on LinkedIn for awesome video prospecting tips and a new episode of Video Selling Live every other week. So thank you very much. Have a great holiday this weekend, and I will see you soon.